Okay, so remember back in the day, like when you had to go to like an actual record store to buy an actual CD if you wanted to listen to an album?
Yeah, yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, it seems so long ago,
It really does.
but it really wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
But back then, the music industry, they really had a tight grip on everything. They controlled what we listened to,
they really did.
what was popular,
Yeah.
and how we got our music.
Mm-hmm.
But then MP3s came along, and platforms like Napster,
Mm-hmm.
and they completely like disrupted everything.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be diving into something that has, um, similar disruptive potential,
Mm.
which is open source AI. And the crazy thing is, this is shaking up the tech world in a way that could change everything.
Yeah, that's a pretty fascinating parallel.
Right.
Yeah, and the project we're looking at today, DeepSeek, could be a major player in this shift.
Okay, so let's set the stage here. Let's go back in time. Imagine a world without Spotify
Mm.
or, iTunes.
Right.
You want new music. You have to like go to the store
Yeah.
and buy a physical CD.
Like a real physical disc.
A real physical disc, exactly.
Wow.
And the record labels were the gatekeepers.
Yeah,
They decided what music we heard
that's right.
and how we got it.
Yep,
That was it.
that was it.
If you were an independent artist, good luck
Oh, yeah.
trying to break through.
Forget about it.
Forget about it, because those labels control distribution.
Totally. It was really hard for independent artists to get their music out there. Boom.
Boom.
The MP3.
The MP3.
This tiny little file.
This tiny little file that could hold a whole song.
Yeah.
And, all of a sudden, music was shareable online.
It was like the world opened up.
Platforms like Napster popped
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
cutting out the record labels completely.
Mm-hmm.
And the industry went nuts.
They freaked out,
Lawsuits galore.
trying to shut it all down.
But ultimately, they had to adapt.
We had no choice.
They had no choice.
Right.
iTunes, Spotify,
Mhm.
these platforms became the new norm.
That's right.
And the way we consume music was forever changed.
Changed forever.
Forever.
So it's a classic example of how this kind of disruptive technology can force entire industries to evolve.
Yeah.
And, now we might be seeing history repeat itself.
Okay.
But this time it's in the world of artificial intelligence.
Okay, so how does this all relate to AI? We hear about AI all the time, but how is that similar to the pre-MP3 music scene?
Well, think of it this way. Okay, so
Yeah.
right now you have these companies, like Google and Meta and OpenAI. These are kind of like those old school record labels.
Hmm.
They control access to the most advanced AI technologies.
Yeah.
All the algorithms, all the data, the really, really powerful tools.
Yeah, it takes a lot of resources to build that stuff.
Massive resources.
Yeah.
To develop these things, and they've got it pretty much locked down.
So it's kind of like they're deciding what we can do with AI, what's possible, what's not possible.
In a way, yeah. I mean, they're the ones with the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
But now we have this emergence of open source AI projects.
Hmm.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
These projects, like DeepSeek, they're making those powerful AI tools available to everyone.
Everyone.
You got developers, you got researchers, you got startups.
So it's kind of like giving everybody the power to create their own music, except this time it's AI applications.
Exactly. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but tell me more about DeepSeek specifically. What makes it unique?
Well, DeepSeek is interesting because it's not just, releasing a single model or data set.
Hmm.
They're building a whole ecosystem for open source AI development.
Mm-hmm.
They're providing access to powerful pre-trained models. That's part of it.
Right.
But they're also creating tools that make it easier for developers to build and deploy their own AI applications.
Mm-hmm.
They're even offering cloud computing resources specifically designed for running AI models.
It's like they're building the entire recording studio
Yeah.
and just giving it away for free.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. So that's incredible. So it really sounds like they're lowering the barriers to entry in a big way.
Mhm.
But how are the big tech companies reacting to all this? I mean, do they see this as a threat?
Well, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Some companies, they definitely see it as a threat.
Right.
And they're doubling down on their proprietary systems.
Yeah.
But others are starting to realize that, open source could actually be a win-win situation for everybody.
Mm.
It can accelerate innovation, it
Hmm.
can create new markets,
Yeah.
and it can even help them identify and recruit top talent.
So instead of fighting it, they could actually benefit from embracing it.
Absolutely. Think about the open source software movement.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Linux.
Right.
Linux is used everywhere,
Right.
even by those big tech companies that initially saw it as a threat.
Yeah.
They realized that collaboration can lead to better, more robust technologies.
So open source AI could actually push the entire field forward.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing more minds to the table.
Right.
You're fostering more creativity. You're allowing for, specialized tools to be developed outside the constraints of like corporate interests.
So what kind of impact do you think this is going to have on developers and researchers? I mean, it sounds like a game changer.
It is a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine, being a small startup, you got this brilliant idea for an AI application, but you don't have the resources to build everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Open source AI gives you access to, those building blocks that you need to get started. For researchers, it means, they can build on each other's work.
Right.
They can share data more easily.
Yeah.
And potentially, make breakthroughs faster.
So essentially, it's democratizing AI,
That's right.
which is, I mean, that sounds incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
But, are there any potential downsides that we should be considering here?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are challenges with any new technology.
Of course, yeah.
One thing is that open source projects, they often rely on, community contributions,
Right.
which, that can be a little unpredictable sometimes.
Yeah.
Maintaining quality and security, those can also be issues
Right.
with open source.
So it sounds like there needs to be like a balance
Yes.
between, this open access and making sure things, don't go off the rails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Open source doesn't mean, a free-for-all.
Right.
We still need standards. We need ethical guidelines.
Right.
We need ways to, address potential misuse.
Right.
But the potential benefits are enormous.
Okay, so to sum it all up,
Hmm.
it seems like we're on the verge of a major shift in the AI landscape, with open source projects like DeepSeek leading the charge. I mean, it's like the MP3 revolution all over again.
Yeah, it really is.
But this time, the stakes are even higher.
Much higher. Yeah, and just like with the music industry, the big question is, will the established players adapt and embrace this change?
Hmm.
Or will they try to, hold on to their control?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. All right, so here's something for you to think about.
Okay.
Given the rise of open source AI and its potential to empower individuals, could we see a future where the most influential figures in AI aren't the big tech companies, but rather independent developers and researchers?
That's a really interesting question.
It's food for thought.
Yeah, it is.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Thanks for having me.